Happy Halloween, and welcome to First Parish Brewster Unitarian Universalist. This church was founded in 1700. It's part of a living tradition, one that draws wisdom from all the world's religious traditions, balanced with the insights of modern science. Here we call ourselves seekers after truth and practical goodness, because with all there is to know, the one thing we can all be sure of is that none of us have all of the answers. We do, however, believe in the power of questions. Questions we ask ourselves, curiosity we hold out for one another, and inquiries about how to make this world a better place, one deed at a time. I am the Reverend Scott Hull, and I use he, him pronouns. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm a dragon. Thank you. I am joined today by Reverend Julia. And yes, she can totally turn you into a creature. How do you think I got like this? We want to offer our gratitude to our clarinet ensemble, Pam McLean, Kaeza, and members of our choir for their offerings this morning, Anna and our CYM team for their ongoing work with our young people, our greeters, our ushers, our tech team, and the members of Cove, wherever you are, for they make all good things possible all week long. Now, let us do our thing and give an enthusiastic and visible welcome to our online friends. We are so delighted to be joined by the unseen, the remote, and the far-flung on this creepy and spectacular day. And if you are visiting with us this morning, please note that we are not usually like this. Usually, we're a bit weird. Nevertheless, a very special welcome to you also. If you would like more information about First Parish and all of the fabulous things that we do here, you are invited to fill out a welcome card, or if you prefer, you can drop us a note at administrator@First Parish Brewster, and we will endeavor to connect you with all manner of goodness. Now for some announcements for the good of the order. Next Sunday at 2 p.m., we will be hosting a concert right here. Kaeza, would you like to tell us more about it?
Sure thing. So next Sunday at 2 o'clock, there is a concert that is paid for with grants, and it is here by a clarinetist named Glenn Dixon, whom I worked with for many years up in the Boston area, and his colleague, Bob Familiar, and they do very creative, meditative, but also expansive. I think you'll have a lot of fun at the concert if you come next Sunday.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to that. Next Sunday also, just kind of a heads up, because this may require a little planning on your part, we're going to be exploring the spiritual side of this season. That's next Sunday. And as part of that exploration, you're going to be invited to contribute a photo, a memento, or some note of remembrance to commemorate a beloved ancestor or friend. There will be more details about that in your weekly newsletter. Just keep an eye out for that. Lastly, today, if you are new to First Parish, you are welcome to join us for UU 101. Grab a cup of coffee. You can join us in the library. That's going to be roughly around 11:30. Please feel free to consider that so we can get to know you and you can get to know us. But all of that is in the future. So let's take a moment right now to ground our furry, scaly, and sometimes incorporeal selves firmly into this moment, in this one time and space, by taking a deep breath in and letting it go. In, out. One more. In and out. And continue to take a few more of these slow, intentional breaths over the next few moments. And with each release, just try to let go of whatever it is that you need to let go of in order to be more fully present to yourself and to each other and to the possibility of the sacred in this time and place.
The clarinet ensemble will share what is listed at the in-gathering music. I think you'll recognize it if you've been living part of popular culture.
Our chalice lighting words this morning come to us from Amy Carol Webb. We light this flame for the art of sacred unknowing. Humbled by all that we cannot fathom in this time, we come into the presence of what we do know, perhaps the only thing we can ever know, that love is now and forever the only answer to everything and everyone in every moment. Friends, please rise as you're able and greet one another on this fine and fabulous morning.
You have clearly been.
Well, you went and sat down. Now that we've all been introduced, let's affirm our faith. You have to stand back up. I'm very sorry. If you're in the front half of the sanctuary, and let's define that by, say, the back edge of the second windows. All right, if you're in the front half, will you please turn around and face the back half? Those of you who have just turned around will read the plain text in the order of service. Those of you in the back half who are still facing forwards will respond with the text in italics. Okay, we're ready. We believe in love.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
We believe in truth.
The quest for truth is its sacrament.
We believe in helping others.
And service is our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life.
To the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine.
Well done.
I'll get you, my pretties, and all of your little dogs and cats and little weasels and all of those. We're going to sing our... I'm a real person. I'm a real person. We're going to sing our opening song, the moment I've been waiting for all morning, and it's on the back of your order of service, and it's here in my hand. I'm gonna I think some of you probably know this. Let's just sing the chorus for them. Can you just give me the chord? Well, just to practice the chorus. Is it on? The amp is on. Yeah.
Do you want to do a different one?
Okay.
Can we use this one?
Yeah, it's true. It's not coming through the amp. Well, we're good at a cappella, right? You know what?
I don't think this one's on.
Can we just
She doesn't want to use this one.
can we just put this here? There you go. Are we okay if I put this right here? We'll see if we can pick something up. I'm on the yellow mic here. Can you pick something up here?
You want me to hold it?
Yeah.
I can hold it.
Sure.
I'm sure.
Okay, that would be great. Okay, so who were the witches? Where did they come from? Try it. Who were the witches? Where did they come from? Maybe your great-great-grandmother was one. Maybe your great-great-grandmother was one. Witches were wise, wise women, they say. Witches were wise, wise women, they say. And there's a little witch in every woman today. There's a little witch in every woman today. All right, let's sing the whole thing and I'll start the song. When I point to you, you sing. Why don't you rise in body or spirit? Let's have some fun. 2, here we go. Who were the witches? Where did they come from? Maybe your great-great-grandmother was one. Witches were wise, wise women, they say. And there's a little witch in every woman today. Witches knew all about flowers and weeds, how to use all their roots and their leaves and their seeds. When people grew weary from hard-working days, they made them feel better in so many ways. Who were the witches? Where did they come from? Maybe your great-great-grandmother was one. Witches were wise, wise women, they say. And there's a little witch in every woman today. When women had babies, the witches were there to hold them and help them and give them some care. Witches knew stories of how life began, Don't you wish you could be one? Well, maybe you can. Who were the witches? Where did they come from? Maybe your great-great-grandmother was one. Witches were wise, wise women, they say. And there's a little witch in every woman today. Some people thought that the witches were bad. Some people were scared of the power they had. But power to help and to heal and to care isn't something to fear. It's a pleasure to share. Who were the witches? Where did they come from? Maybe your great-great-grandmother was one. Witches were wise, wise women, they say. And there's a little witch in every woman today. There's a little witch in every woman today. Lots of witches in the world.
Hello, everybody. So before we do our story for Times of All Ages, we're going to, the kids are going to do a collection for UNICEF. So I mentioned it last week. I am a Model UN advisor, and so the UNICEF and all things United Nations is pretty near and dear to my heart. And unfortunately, UNICEF, the UN, is short funding because certain big powers aren't paying their dues. Two particular powers. Anyway, so the UNICEF could really use our help. Now, back in the olden days when I was young and we collected for UNICEF, you could put pennies in. And that was kind of the thing. But now they take anything, even Venmo. There is a QR code where you can scan if you would like to donate a little bit more than what will fit in the box. So thank you very much, and we'll have the littles come around.
right, if you want to bring those boxes right back up here, you've done such an amazing job collecting. What a compassionate, incredible congregation. Unbelievable, you guys. This is just great. Look at that. And I need everybody, all the small people to come up here. And I need the tweens to come up here too, because we have more fun. So clear this area, because this is going to be our stage. Bring the boxes and put them right over here. Anna, where do you want the boxes? Right over there. Boxes over there. Okay. Creighton, thank you. Can you bring that over there? Great. Oh, this is amazing. Push them maybe all the way over so we have room for our witch and our dragon. And we are going to do a story for you with many, many moving parts and changing characters. So all of the characters, oh, I am so glad, Kermit, that you joined us. Come on over. They're just in time. So what I think I need you to do, and May, you are welcome to join us also if you want to, okay? If you want a cape or just if you just want to stand up. Tweens, would you come take your places right up here? Braden, Molly, and Campion right there. And then sit down and take your sheet with you. I'm sorry, this is going to take a couple minutes. You don't need it, just sit down. Okay, if you don't care, just sit down. Okay, so you three sit there. Henry, you come down here. And I'm going to ask all the children now to sit over here until I call your character, okay? Sit down here on the floor. Push back against as far as you can so we have room. All the way over here. Actually, not there, even though I told you that. Come sit on the floor over here. Over here, over here, over here. Over here. This is our stage. Go sit down over there. Go sit down over there. Over there. Edie, over there. And Henry and Caleb, come sit over here. Henry, you need to give Anna your box. Okay? Okay, and Kermit, sit right down over here. Now, I think we're good. All right, you folks disappear until the moment I need you, right? All right, we are going to tell you the story of Room on the Broom, with apologies to Julia Donaldson, who wrote the real one, because we've adapted it to accommodate our broom and all of the characters who want to ride on it. Are you ready? Okay. So, there was a witch. And the witch came down here. And maybe she's going to, I think, face that direction, fly into that direction, and maybe move over because there are a lot of right there. Oh, my goodness. So the witch had 2 cats. Are there any cats? Cats. Here's a cat, 1 cat. Vinny, did you want to come? Okay, that's fine. The witch had a cat and a skeleton friend, and Spider-Man, and they all got on the broom together. Right there, right here, Spider-Man and the skeleton. Now remember, you're riding a broom behind that witch, so face the witch, get on the broom, okay. And the witch had long ginger hair and a braid down her back. Now, how those cats purred and how the witch grinned as they sat on their broomstick and pretended to fly through the wind. Oh, but how the witch wailed and how the cats spat when the wind blew so wildly that it blew off her hat. Down, cried the witch, and they flew to the ground and they searched for the hat, but no hat could be found. Then out of the bushes, on lumbering feet, there stepped Frankenstein with the hat in his teeth, and he climbed on the broom right behind Spidey. Now, Frankenstein dropped the hat and then eagerly said, as the witch pulled the hat firmly down on her head so that it would not fall again, "I'm Frankenstein," he said, just as keen as can be. "Is there room on this broom for someone like me?" "Oh, yes," cried the witch, and Frankenstein climbed on. And the witch tapped her broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. And over the fields of the forest they flew, and the witch laughed out loud, and she held on to her hat. But away blew the bow from the braid, just like that. Down cried the witch, and they flew to the ground, and they searched for the bow. But no bow could be found. Then, out from a tree with a crash like a band, lumbered a mummy, a tiger, a ghost. A ghost. Where's the ghost? You're the ghost. Come on. The tiger and the ghost need to get on. And they had the bow in their hands, and they said, "We are quite scary, but we're as clever as can be. Is there room on this broom for scary creatures like we?" "Oh, yes," cried the witch. And the mummy, Spider-Man, and the ghost and tiger all climbed on the broom. Climb on, and whoosh, they were gone. And you know what? There was a superhero, too, in a green cape. Come on, climb on, Henry, climb on the broom. Now, over the reeds and the rivers they flew. The mummy shrieked with glee, and the stormy wind blew, and they shot through the sky to the back of beyond, and the witch clutched her bow, but she let go of her wand. Now, down cried the witch, and they flew to the ground, and they searched for the wand, but no wand could be found. And then all of a sudden, from out of a pond, rose a pink alligator and Kermit the Frog with a dripping wet wand. They dropped it politely and then said with a croak, as the witch dried the wand on a fold of her cloak, "We are Kermit and Alligator, as clean as can be. Is there room on the broom for two friends like we?" "Oh, yes," said the witch. So the friends climbed on, and the witch tapped her broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. And over the moors and the mountains they flew, and the frog jumped for joy. Frog, jump, frog. But the broom snapped in two. Oh no! And all of the creatures on the broom, whether they were on the broom or off the broom, they all fell down in a pile right over here. Over here. Right here, near these big people. Okay. All right. Now the witch's half broomstick flew into a cloud, and the witch heard a roar that was scary and loud. "I am a dragon as mean as can be, and which with French fries tastes delicious to me." "Oh no," cried the witch, flying higher and higher, and the dragon flew after her, breathing out fire. "Help," cried the witch, flying down to the ground. She looked all around, but no help could be found. The dragon drew near with a glint in his eyes and said, "Just this once, I'll have witch without fries." But just as he planned to begin on a feast, from out of the bog rose a terrible beast. This is when you make them a terrible beast. Make them a terrible beast. They're a terrible, terrible beast. Everybody get into the sheep. It was tall, dark, and sticky, and scaly and furry. It had 10 frightful heads. It had wings like a bird, and its terrible voice when it started to speak was a yowl and a growl and a croak and a shriek. And it dripped and it squelched and it strode from the ditch, and it said to the dragon, "Buzz off. That's my witch." Well, the dragon drew back and he started to shake. "I'm sorry," he spluttered. "I made a mistake. It's nice to have met you, but now I must fly." And he spread out his wings and was off through the sky. Picked the sheet off. Then out from beneath the sheet stepped a skeleton, along with a ghost and a tiger, and down hopped Spidey, the mummy and cats, and outlumbered the alligator and the superhero and everyone else. And phew, said the frog, and they climbed back on that broom. Get back on the broom. "Thank you, oh, thank you, cried the witch. "Without you, I'd be on that dragon's inside." Then she filled up her cauldron and said with a grin, "Find something, everyone, throw something in." And they threw them all in, and the witch stirred them well. And while she was stirring, she muttered a spell, "Iggity, ziggity, ziggity, zoom," and then out rose a truly magnificent broom. And it had seats for the witch, for the Frankenstein and the mummy, for the skeleton, the alligator, the ghost, for the frog, for superheroes, for little cats and Spider-Man, and everybody else had room on that broom. And yes, cried the witch, and they all clambered on. And the witch tapped the broomstick, and whoosh, they were gone. And we are going to go too. So thank you so much to all of you who acted and who came and who did things. Let's head out that door. Let's fly right down that way. Thank you for coming. Take it.
Now we're going to ask for more money. Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. This morning's offering is a split plate with Cape Cod LGBTQ+ senior friends, whose mission is to enhance the quality of life for Cape Cod's LGBTQ+ seniors as they age, to end isolation, and to provide emotional support for the challenges of loss and change. This organization was nominated by the Welcoming Congregation LGBTQ Committee. Your generosity for this important community service and for our own congregational operations will now be gratefully received. The world is a noisy place. Our attention is targeted nonstop. If a person isn't careful, they might never get to choose quiet. They might never hear a sound that they didn't expect or that didn't make sense. They might never even be privy to that which might require a re-examination of their understanding of the world. Let's take this moment. Let's take this moment to choose. Let's make ourselves immune to targeted advertising and social media outrage. Let's set aside the lists and worries. Let's just choose a moment of quiet so we can listen for the unexpected. Our reading this morning is entitled In the Parlor by Julie Buck. Prim and pristine in the parlor, feet together, patent leather shoes for the daughters, the son, obviously a fraud. Father, will you call for our mother, please? Everyone had one hand on the spirit board. The father, gruff and civilized, with a large white mustache and a proper three-piece suit, realized he can get mother here. 3 daughters, one a believer, one holding in giggles, and the youngest, bored. The patriarch knows that spirits can touch anyone. Oh, Lord, the chill is mounting. It has begun.
They say that this is the season when the veil between worlds grows thin. Here on Cape Cod, you don't have to be a mystic to feel it. It's in the fog that rolls off the bay and swallows the road. It's in the wind that rattles the shutters. It's in the quiet, gray light of October mornings, that moment when the familiar world seems just a little less certain, and something older, colder, presses close. 200 years ago, people knew that feeling well. Life itself was smaller then, darker and shorter. Most folk never traveled more than a day from home. Medicine was guesswork. School-aged children worked beside their parents all day. And the world beyond the village might as well have been on another planet. And yet, this tiny world was on the edge of something vast. New sciences were unraveling old mysteries. Steam engines that conquered distance, magnets that pulled invisible forces from the air, telegraphs that sent messages across miles of wire at the speed of thought. Hard boundaries suddenly seemed soft. Impossibilities became realities. Prayers were being answered. The mysteries of a dark and hard world were slowly peeling back, and something beyond imagination was being revealed. It was in this age of wonder that a strange new movement was born. One that promised to upend how we thought about life, how we thought about history, how we thought about eternity. Miracle workers appeared. Some spoke to our deepest fears. Some spoke to our wildest dreams. Some spoke with the dead. Let's begin our visit with John Bovey Dodds, a Universalist pastor and amateur scientist who witnessed a performance by a traveling mesmerist and was amazed. Now, back in 1776, Franz Mesmer was describing an occult energy field, one that surrounded, penetrated, and bound all living things. Mesmer called it animal magnetism. 200 years later, George Lucas called this the Force. Anyway, Mesmer said that talented individuals could manipulate this strange and unseen energy and use it to put people into trances, make them do ludicrous things, remember events in impossible detail, and even heal people of their maladies. Like the professional hypnotists today, these public performances were fun and very popular. Reverend Dodds was a fan. Dodds, as I said, was a minister and an amateur scientist, and despite rumors to the contrary, this isn't nearly as odd as it sounds. And what he saw in that traveling sideshow in the 1830s was an explanation for long-standing problems in medical science and theology. How could an immaterial mind affect a very material body? How could an immaterial God affect a very material world? Mesmerism, electricity, magnetism, together these unlocked the door. And Dodds called his new solution to these old problems the science of spiritualism. Andrew Jackson Davis was also fascinated by mesmerism, but with a different twist. He discovered that when he was placed into a mesmeric trance, he had visions. Visions of universal love and beings of luminous energy. And he found that he understood the great unending chain of life, of progression and improvement of the human soul, a process that persisted across all eternity. He found that his visions gave way to visits from the dead. And the dead told him many things. Davis's book, The Principles of Nature, her divine revelations and a voice to mankind, was entirely dictated through him by spirits while he was in a trance. That book was published in 1847. It was a bestseller. A year later, in upstate New York, 3 teenagers, the Fox sisters, heard some frightful noises. Thumps, bumps, knocks under the floor, in the walls, on the furniture. Their house was haunted. Rumors of strange happenings at the Fox farm spread quickly. Neighbors came, ministers came, scientists came. The 3 sisters, hesitant at first, tried to explain, but found they could not. They found it easier to show, not tell. They led their visitors through strange and miraculous demonstrations that became conversations, because beyond all expectation, the mysterious knocking sounds would answer questions. Soon, there were hundreds, then thousands of these spirit circles all across the country. Millions of people seeking comfort and solace, seeking miracles, seeking meaning and understanding, seeking transformation. Millions of people, they became followers, devotees, and practitioners. Millions of people seeking and finding at last, at long last. The age of spiritualism was underway, and it lasted almost a century. Before you roll your eyes at those circles and seances, remember, they weren't chasing ghosts. They were chasing hope. The same restless hope that I think still haunts us today. And in that spirit, I want to underline a few things for you doubters in the room. You know who you are. First, spiritualism was thoroughly topical. Take the elephant in the room, the Civil War. It was big, impossible to state how big. Something like 1 in 8 able-bodied men died or were seriously injured in that war. 1 in 8. That meant a huge labor shortage in every industry, in every vocation, and in every region across the country. Lawyers, doctors, and preachers, skilled labor. They could work wherever they wanted. Apparently, the rural and rough West was not where they wanted. And that meant opportunity. Women stepped into those empty roles all over the West. The very first women were ordained at this time. And perhaps not surprisingly, they were Unitarians. Women across the nation were finding their voices in the pulpits and the parlors, and the world, the whole world, was listening. Second, and I want to underline this, spiritualism was rooted in grief. The grief, the anger, the wounds, they would have been unfathomable, ever present and everywhere. The war just ravaged the nation. This was also a time when 1 in 5 children did not survive to their 5th birthday. Pneumonia, typhoid, diarrhea, dysentery, and tuberculosis were common killers. Death was familiar, intimate. Is it any wonder that people would be willing to try to reach across the veil? Is it really a surprise that after her beloved son Willie, Mary Lincoln, wife of Abraham Lincoln, hosted at least 8 different seances in the White House? Third, spiritualism made sense. That may be an odd thing to say today. The idea that the spirits of the dead could communicate with the living by a series of loud knocks, though, was just as reasonable to most people as another invention at that time, the telegraph. Just as humans had discovered how to communicate across space, spiritualists had discovered how to communicate across time. Reasonable people understood spiritualism as our telegraph to the great beyond. But here's where it gets fun for us heretics. Remember that Calvinism was the standard theology in American churches for most of the 19th century, just as it was here in our own church for the first 150 or so years of our religious life. Now, Calvinism taught that God knew everything, including everything that ever happened or ever would happen. And based on that knowledge, God has always known whether you or I would eventually be facing heaven or hell. Obviously, there was nothing we could do in our time here on earth that could surprise God, because God doesn't change. And there was nothing you and I could do to change God's mind about our salvation or damnation. And just for the record, I have it on good authority that most of you were definitely going to the bad place. And this particular thing, this was actually the big beef that Universalists had with the Calvinists. And here in Massachusetts, that meant Congregationalist churches, like ours. But here in Massachusetts and elsewhere across our nation, Universalists were teaching that God was too good to send us humans to hell. Too good. Isn't that great? Too good. Universalists taught that hell was a myth, more that it was a lie, because no God of love could send anyone to hell, certainly not for forever. That made no logical sense. And that is why spiritualism became a problem for Calvinists. Because if the spiritualists were right, the Calvinists were wrong. And just to be clear, that meant that the Baptists, the Methodists, and the Catholics, they were all wrong too. Why were they wrong? Because none of the spirits of the dead were communicating from a place of suffering and torment. That is, wherever they were not in hell. And suddenly, people all over the country were wondering if those wacky Universalists had been right all along. For the record, this may also explain why so many Universalist ministers either became spiritualist mediums themselves or actively promoted them on regional tours, traveling roadshows, and at the local attractions. No real mystery there, but just good to know. But whether by hook or crook, spiritualism took the whole world by storm. And it's worth pausing to recall that spiritualism generated some remarkable offspring. Madame Blavatsky. Anybody know that name? Madame Blavatsky. She was used by the spirits to write her metaphysical magnum opus, Isis Unveiled, another bestseller, and launch the Theosophical Society. Their current headquarters is just outside of Chicago. Mary Baker Eddy. Anybody know that name? Yeah. She reinterpreted those same mystical energies into healing prayer and used them to found Church of Christ Scientist. If I'm not mistaken, there's one just up the road. And from those movements came New Thought, author William James's favorite term for the power that the mind had to shape reality. And from there, we got the Unity Church, cognitive behavior therapy, and yes, the prosperity gospel. Joel Osteen, I'm afraid, is our fault. Oops. Spiritualists found their way into Freemasonry, or maybe it was the other way around, but either way, that's how we got the Ouija board, mail order tarot cards, the New Age movement, Wicca, and the other paths of neo-paganism. And yes, there are still those out there listening for messages from the dead today. Anybody here a fan of the Netflix show Life After Death with Tyler Henry? You know you are. It's just one notable example. All of that, at least in part, is because of us. You're welcome. But even with all of that was to come, spiritualism itself as a movement began to decline right after World War I. And as it declined, so did Universalism as an independent faith tradition. Reasons for this are varied, probably complicated, but I'm pretty sure that Universalism was a victim of its own success. Through spiritualism, it had touched the heart and soul of America. And whomever you were at the seance table, whether a Universalist, a Methodist, a Baptist, a Congregationalist, or a Catholic, or none of the above, if you were also a spiritualist, the heresy of universal salvation, that went with you. That is, the teachings of Universalism went mainstream, even as the Universalist Church of America, once the fastest growing tradition in North America, it dwindled almost to extinction. So why did the age of spiritualism end? Anybody? Want to guess? It's patriarchy. Should have known that, right? Patriarchy. Yeah, it's a solid guess, right? Spiritualism had thrived when women filled the pulpits and the parlors left empty by war. When the men returned, society let them reclaim both. The intuitive, the emotional, the mysterious, all that was promptly reclassified as superstition. Certainty is a comforting ghost. It explains everything and it saves us from wonder. And maybe that's why a kind of macho materialism emerged in the public consciousness about this time, and debunking became a very popular and public sport. Harry Houdini, the famous escape artist, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, author of the Sherlock Holmes mysteries, they all published a series of clear and embarrassing cases of fraud that they found in the seance parlors. And suddenly it seemed to the world that the mysterious knocks, apparitions, and ghostly manifestations were not so mysterious after all. Eventually, even the Fox sisters confessed to lying. They said they had made the whole thing up for fun and profit. Scientists ever since seem to have embraced these words from philosopher David Hume, quote, "If we take in our hand any volume of divinity or school metaphysics, for instance, let us ask, does it contain any abstract reasoning concerning quantity or number? No. Does it contain any experimental reasoning concerning matter of fact or existence? No. Commit it then to the flames, for it contains nothing but sophistry and illusion." In psychology, behaviorism replaced mentalism. The mind, whatever it was reduced to the machine and ignored. In the courthouse, the Scopes monkey trial made a public mockery of religious belief. In public discussions, Utopian visions for social progress were systematically attacked and abandoned in favor of a new, masculine, hard-nosed realism. Suddenly, America had no room for mystery. Soon there would be another world war, a Cold War, a terror war, a century of war. Hope and mystery and curiosity were placed behind power and profit. Now, I say all that, and I'm not usually one for rose-colored glasses, but October makes me wonder what we might pull forward from our past, for what it is that still haunts us. And this spiritualist story sticks with me. I'm struck by the thought that when we exiled mystery, maybe we exiled awe too. I wonder if our souls didn't grow smaller and harder because of it. I am reminded that our tradition asks us to keep both lamps lit, reason and reverence, and to listen not just for voices across the veil, but for what those voices reveal in us. Love that outlasts certainty, and hope that refuses to die. But I know that the world doesn't stay unmysterious for long. I know that every time we draw the curtain tight, something or someone starts knocking again. I remember what popular wisdom seems to have forgotten, that Halloween was a holiday long before the Civil War. For as long as we have been human, we have been looking up into the night sky and wondering, shivering, and nervous. Do you know that we still have no clear idea how the mind happens, how consciousness happens? It has something to do with our brains. After that, it's a mystery. We do know that something about near-death experiences and why they might be so similar. It's because of neurochemicals and common biology. But these are natural processes and therefore subject to natural selection. But what evolutionary value is there in a near-death chemical fireworks display? It should make sense. It doesn't. I have similar questions about the uncanny valley. Any of you heard about this? The uncanny valley? It goes like this. Figures that look almost human, but somehow are not. These figures generate universal feelings of dread, revulsion, and fear. So what is it about our human history that such a fear was so necessary for survival that every single human being of any age or of any culture seems to share it? Stranger things, indeed. And that's my sermon this Halloween morning. My reflection on a world that was and ours as a faith that once danced along the edges of the unknown. A faith that I like to believe still preaches that love and wonder should always have the last word. As we began in fog, let's end in dawn. And just imagine for a moment what it must have been like almost 200 years ago. Peer back through the veil at a world slowly waking up, a society on the cusp of transformation, and how unbelievably exciting it would have been to hear, to have proof, however flawed, proof that life was meaningful and endless and beautiful. What a sunrise that must have been. And in that spirit, I'll give the final word to Cora Scott, a Chicago-based pastor, trance lecturer, and medium, and the founder of the National Spiritualist Association, and will also happen to be one of the best-known spiritualists of the 19th century. Her vision, her dream, was set out in a speech in 1897, and I believe it frames up the great hope that we, her theological descendants, carry to this day. She said, quote, "Have you ever seen the sun rise on the ocean? The first gray lines tremble on the horizon. Streaks of gold and crimson slowly rise. A gray cloud moves across the path, and then it turns into a crimson cloud, moving across the sky. On the verge of the horizon trembles the pale morning star, and then the full bright orb Phoebus in his golden chariot ascends, and a flood of light spreads across the universe. Even thus will dawn the new age of humanity, and not only slavery, but fear, darkness, and death will be conquered in the light of that new morning." May we today rise with that new morning, not to escape the world, but to love it more fiercely, even through its veils. May it ever be so. Amen. Blessed be, and happy Halloween.
And turn to the back of your order of service. We have one closing song with the words on the back. Please rise in body or spirit. We're going to sing Monster Mash together. Lindsay will be speaking some verses, so just follow John Kelb in the front. When he puts his hands up, then, then it's time to sing.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight, for my monster from the slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the Monster Mash! It was a graveyard smash! He was caught in a flash! The Monster Mash! From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls came from their holy abodes to catch a jolt from my electrodes. They did the Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. Did the mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. Out from his coffin, throats were drained. Seems he was troubled by just one thing. He opened the lid and shook his fist and said, "Whatever happened to my Transylvanian twist?" The Monster Mash! It was a graveyard smash! The Monster Mash! The Monster Mash! Now everything's cool. Drac's part of the band, and my Monster Mash is a hit of the land. For you, the living, this man's must do. When you get to my door, tell them Boris sent you. Then you can do the Monster Mash and do the Graveyard Smash. You'll catch it in a flash. Then you can Monster Mash. Oh well.
I think that mic was on.
Our chalice extinguishing words this morning come from Rolf Gerhardt. We extinguish this flame, a mere wisp of matter in process, almost as insubstantial as the thought of it. Yet our civilization has harnessed the power of such a flame to drive and shape a new world. So may it be with the power of our thoughts, that in truth and love they may drive and shape a new world.
My friends, if you would rise one last time, and maybe if you are comfortable doing so, please join hands. Ready? Know that whatever taste or touch you've had in this time and place of hope, peace, joy, love, that is the gift that goes with you out into the world. We are different for having spent this time together. We are different because of the questions we choose to explore together, but mostly we are different because of what we do together. And with that, remember, life is short, and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who travel with us. So be swift to love, make haste to be kind, and wherever you go, be bold and go with great thanksgiving. Can I get an amen? Amen. Yahoo! Please be seated for our postlude.